Good morning, this is Mr. Kraus, or good afternoon, or good evening. For Mr. Kraus, it happens to be a Sunday with a little bit of football on in the background. You might hear it. Let's talk about reviewing for your final for Mr. Kraus and some common mistakes that I'll definitely be looking to assess or figure out if you understand on the test. Fancy fanboys, common mistake. First of all, let's review. Compound sentences happen or occur when clauses are combined, which begs a question. Let's take a look at a clause real quick. You guys can see in isolation it's pretty easy, but a clause has to have a subject, a verb, and an object. And here's our example. King Midas is the subject, the verb is has, and we'll call the golden touch the object. Obviously a period would be nice at the end of a clause. So there it is again. When talking about what's not a clause, we might say a collection of words is a phrase. It looks like a clause. It has that capital letter and a period, but this simply is missing a subject. That's hopefully obvious in isolation, but this is the common mistake that occurs in a student's writing. Here's another phrase that kind of looks like a clause. It's missing the verb, obviously. This one might be a catchy title, King Midas, the Golden Touch. However, it does not serve as a clause, and these are where the mistakes occur. You're not combining clauses in your writing, and that's what Mr. Kraus wants to evaluate moving forward with Fancy Fanboys, and comma fanboys for that matter. Fancy Fanboy Review, these are the three most common solutions for increasing the academic level in your writing, instead of saying and, moreover, so on and so forth. When looking at the punctuation options, again, we'll take a pause here and make sure we have a complete clause on this side and a second complete clause. He learns the hard way, a subject, verb, and an object. And my first recommendation for you young writers is to use that semicolon and always, always, always a comma after. Rather than that, we can substitute out the semicolon and use a period. So these are the two basic options that I'll be looking for on the test. And again, if you read that to yourselves, you'll definitely hear it sound a little bit more academic than just the word and. So let's take a look at a quick mistake. And this is where, let me back up the animation a little bit. This is where I'm seeing the mistake in your writing. This should not be a Fancy Fanboys. We had talked about in the notes in the initial presentation that Fancy Fanboys typically only join sentences. And so here's a mistake. It's an easy fix. Don't be afraid to use and in your writing, but or so. So there's an easy fix. No punctuation because we're not combining clauses. Just a quick fix. Go back to and. It's fine. Now when it gets to your writing, it might be a little trickier. So here we go. I apologize for the circle not highlighting perfectly, but there should be a semicolon and there should always be a comma after. But this Fancy Fanboys is incorrect. There is no subject here, so we are not combining clauses. To fix this on a test, you would choose the best option, which might be just a bland or naked and. That would be fine. If it was an option for moreover, you need to make sure there is a subject here. So Greek myth, semicolon or period, moreover, he. And after the moreover, there would be a comma. There's a couple ways to fix this. Just a naked and, or if we're going to keep the Fancy Fanboys, we need a semicolon, a period, one or the other, keeping moreover always followed by a comma and adding a subject. The legend of King Midas is a classic Greek myth. Moreover, he learns the hard way that one should be careful what he or she wishes for because he or she just might get it. Becomes a very fantastic, extremely strong academic sentence. There's more examples in here. Let's take a look at the second one. Dionysus acquiesces, however, he wishes he had made a better choice. This is a strong example of Fancy Fanboys. A semicolon followed by a comma. There's that subject and verb, so we're combining clauses. This is a terrific, strong example. One more, let's find out if we make a mistake here. Dionysus is a god, furthermore, a patient one. If you take a look after furthermore, we do not have a sentence. A patient one is not a sentence. This is a classic example of overuse of furthermore and moreover. Here it should just be and, a naked and with no punctuation. Hopefully that review helps, and feel free to rewatch or rewind to revisit any part of this process. And one last good luck wish on your final during finals week. Thanks for watching.